Okay, so welcome. My name is Tim Speckman, and I'll be talking a little bit today about the speed fly offense. Something a little bit different than a traditional offense or even what is mainstream today, but it's really not as crazy as everybody might think. It's something that does a lot of the same things as any other offense does, which is try to get your playmakers in space. And that's really the goal of any good offense, right? How you do it depends on your own philosophy. I'm going to talk a little bit about my philosophy, a philosophy that I've inherited a little bit, playing in this offense for my father at Willamette University, where he has developed this. I've tried to also add to it as I've gone on. I think any good coach is always looking to take the best parts of any offensive idea and integrate that into a good attack, right? So, an idea. Football is a creative game. There's lots of ways to succeed, right? Whether you're running spread, whether you're running power I, NFL, pro style, whatever it might be, at the end of the day, there are many ways to succeed and to get your players into the end zone, which is really the goal on offense, right? Our idea, the idea of the fly offense is to go east and west in order to go north and south, right? So to go side to side in order to go toward the end zone. So this is something a little different. A lot of times, coach might say, hey, don't go east-west, go north-south. And I've heard that in my career a lot of times too. Yeah, it's just a different way to do it, a slightly different idea. There are endless variations on this idea, right? So whether you're a team that really likes screen passes, right? You're going east and west in order to go north and south. Same basic principle, spread the defense out, okay? What is the speed fly offense? In our offensive structure, we are a perimeter team. That means we will run the fly sweep. How much we run it, how well we run it, depends on personnel and depends on the defense we face, right? Just like any system, okay? But that is our goal. We want and know that we will make the fly sweep a part of our everyday life, basically, in our system, okay? And we want to create a horizontal stretch, right? East-west. It creates seams inside with large splits and horizontal movement. Very similar idea to any good zone play or stretch play. You're creating movement here and looking for lanes. It's really a similar idea to that. Okay? We want to force the defense to play responsibility football. What that means is if they can't say, oh, look, fullback in the hole, everybody, right? We call that the swarm. When the defense sees the ball and everybody's there, okay? As an offensive coordinator, you want to limit that. You don't want to allow them to get what they want, 6 to 11 hats on the ball every play. A lot of defensive coordinators preach that hard, and they should, right? But for us, we want to limit the defense's ability to do that. And how we do that is basically we spread it out and we have a great system of faking the ball in our run game, which means we want it to look the same. If we run a sweep on the outside, we want it to look exactly the same as when we run an inside trap. It should all look the same. It should be at least similar. And in that, we force the defense to be a little more one-on-one responsibility sound. That's the way that they have to do it. Or if they overplay here or overplay there, just like with any system, you will make problems for the defense. Okay? This is a quote from Vince Lombardi. Every team arrives at a lead play, a number one play, a bread and butter play, right? It is the play that a team knows it must make go and the one that opponents know they must stop. Continued success with it, of course, makes it a number one play, because from that success stems your own team's confidence. Whatever your best play is, if your best play is stretch, if it's zone, and that's your thing, if it's short passing game, whatever it might be, whatever your philosophy is, it needs to be consistent, and it is what creates the identity of your offense. It can be many different things. And that's where the confidence of your team comes from. We know we're going to do our game plan. We know we're going to go out and run our stuff and make it go. And that's where you have to have confidence as a player, as a coach, everything. Okay? And behind that number one play is the basic truth that expresses a coach as a coach and the players as a team. And they feel complete satisfaction when they execute it successfully. Vince Lombardi, when pride still mattered. This is what we want to create for our teams. We want to create this feeling of satisfaction, of fun, of success. And again, whatever system you play, whatever system you choose or philosophy you choose is fine, as long as you make it clear for your guys, or girls also, right? As long as you make it clear, as long as you teach it in the right ways, and as long as you know that it's okay to have tendencies. A lot of times with this offense, a lot of people say, well, the guy's running outside all the time. Yeah, he is, for sure. We're going to do some other stuff too. Don't worry, okay? It's gonna be okay. The big thing is we know that the other team knows that we're going to run the sweep. That becomes an advantage in many ways, right? Because we're able to see how will they play it. What will be the structure of their defense? Many defenses that see this offense have to adjust in a way that makes them uncomfortable or even weak in other places. And as the offensive coordinator, as the coaches, we have to find that and find that weakness just like any other system. The fly sweep. The fly sweep has been around a long time. Long time, since the 1950s. It's been a part of football. Started wing T, a lot of this old style. It's been upgraded and upgraded and upgraded over the years to fit with the new trends and the new style of play. The fly sweep is just one play. It is just one play. The difference between the offensive system that I use and what a lot of teams are doing right now, a lot of teams are using a little bit of fly sweep. We use more plays off of that. That's really the only difference. We use a lot of plays where we have the motion and don't give it to them, where we use play action or something else. So, that was a good one. Popularity of the sweep play is becoming more common in college and professional football. You start to see it everywhere. Auburn's running it, Nebraska, Oregon, a ton of teams. A couple years ago, I think New Orleans ran it a couple times. It's something that is tough to defend. It's difficult to defend. So, of course, teams will say, hey, maybe that's worth something there. Okay? That's it. It's also called the jet sweep or the speed sweep. Call it what you want. It doesn't matter. Jet sweep is It's the same basic idea. Get a guy to the outside in space. The fast guy, he's going around the corner. That's what's happening. Whether or not he has the ball, that's the question, right? That's the question, okay? It's an easy way to add deception, confusion to your offense, right? If you look at any offense as a defensive coordinator, some things you don't like to see as a defensive coordinator are shifts, motions, unbalanced formations, right? Things like that make it hard. Defense has to look, check. Did they get the right check? We don't know, okay? Other things that coaches use is tempo. Today, you see a lot of that. You know, Chip Kelly, high tempo, high octane, go, go, go. And that also puts the defense in a difficult position, right? They have to have a good preparation for something like that. They have to be ready to make calls on the fly. Basically, it's the same thing. It can be adapted to any offensive system. You don't have to run a full speed fly offense. You can take pieces of it, just like I've taken pieces from other ideas and other philosophies and added it to what we do. It can be adapted to any offensive system. It's really about how much, how little you want to use for it. It stretches the defense. It puts the defense in difficult situations. Again, I'm going to keep talking about that because that's what you want to do. We want to use the whole field. We want to go side to side to get north and south. Okay? And we want to make it so that if there's 7 people in the box, okay, maybe we don't run there. Just like if you're playing run-pass options, ROPs, you see 3 guys in the box, you're probably going to pull it and throw the screen. Okay? Or 3 linebackers in the box, including the D-line. Okay? So it really depends on your philosophy there. Okay? Adding inside run and fake in different fakes, or faking the inside run, prevents the defense from swarming. Same thing as if we want to run an inside ISO and we make that fly motion and don't give them the ball but run the inside ISO, somebody's still got to step out just a little bit. Even if it's just a little bit, they have to step out. Okay? If they don't, then we're not doing it right. Okay? That's really it. Faking is kind of we'll talk about it more later, but it's a bit of a lost art, right? You see old videos of the wing T offense, and they got 3 running backs, and they're turning around, and everybody's flying around. And the fly offense is that expanded to be wider, to be more compatible with other systems, to be still fast, still deceptive and difficult, but a little bit different. Okay? It's the development of that. It's great for play action. Makes play action even easier. When you start a motion, a lot of times defenses will have to declare or show their coverage. If it's man, or if we send motion and we see that the linebacker's running all the way across the formation with them, well, we're thinking man. Okay? We don't even then have to fake it to him. The motion itself is the fake. And of course, our tendency to actually run the sweep creates the fake as well, right? So it really helps in play action. It can really simplify it for quarterbacks as well. The fly sweep is always the first play we talk about as an offense. Something that we do that not every team that runs a fly sweep or a jet sweep does is the green, red, yellow, the 3 variation idea. This is something that has also developed over time. It developed out of necessity. When you run the sweep so much, outside, 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 eventually one team will overplay that, and you just can't go outside anymore. That happens, okay? To that, we want to have different ways to attack a defense. So it's just like a street light, right? Green means go. Get outside. Right? Yellow light, slow down, look. It's basically a read, right? Then we're reading the point man, which could be the end or the outside linebacker usually. Okay? We'll read the block on him, and if he goes outside, we go inside. He goes inside, we go outside. That's yellow light. It's a read. Green means go, yellow means, hey, look what's going on here. Okay? Red light means we're going inside. We're cutting it up. Predetermined, we call it, and we say, we're going red light. Now, that means that we're expecting the defensive end, for example, to step outside purely because of the motion. We let him go outside, push him outside, cut up inside of either the tackle or the tight end. Becomes basically a C-gap, B-gap play, but still with great speed, and it allows us to have something different so that the defense can't overplay every time they see the sweep action, right? That's the idea. Fly sweep can be run out of just about any formation. I mean, I can't really imagine a formation you can't run it out of unless you had everyone on the line of scrimmage. Okay, would be a little different. But out of multiple formations, we could be in empty and still have a very effective running game. Empty formation, especially if you got a quarterback that can run, can be just as dangerous as an I formation if you really look at it, because you're, again, spreading the defense out, and you're able to still hit inside or outside if you've got a quarterback that can hit those inside. Okay? You can also use reads with it. You can do some different things. A lot of teams are using a system of sweep read, where they're reading the defensive end. Also very, very, easy to install once you have the basics of this, right? We use really all kinds of blocking. Zone, man, long trap, short trap, all those schemes for the offensive line. In that, we usually give our offensive line some different calls that we can make depending on the front we see, or we'll have a game plan situation where we'll tell them before the game that we should only do these plays in this way. Of course, that will always depend on your opponent, just how it is. The running backs have paths. We don't like to say too often where, hey, it's a 21 ISO, and you can only go through the A gap. Well, of course, that's not always possible, right? Sometimes it closes. So instead, we give them a path, an idea of where they should be going, an aiming point, for example, the outside hip of the play side guard. And in that, we're able to create the plays from the paths. This path is the ice path. That's an ISO, right? And every time we run an ice path, that's your deal. Whether we're faking it, whether we're giving it to you, or whether we're using it as a fake away from a sweep or something like this. The fly sweep is the fastest play in football. There's a man moving before the ball is snapped. Everyone else is usually standing a little bit still. They might move a little bit. If they have a guy running across the formation, then he might be running also. But the fast guy is close to full speed at the snap. The defense is stationary or at least not running 100%. Okay? This gives us an advantage at the snap of the ball. Now, it can be used in many different ways again, but we have an advantage in that, especially because we will be able to change it up. Every time we run the motion, he's not getting the ball every time, right? And in that, we're able to play fast, okay? It's forgiving. And this is one of the biggest reasons that this offense is very popular, at least in my home state of California. It's been a very popular offense for high schools simply because It's not expensive practice-wise. And here in Germany, right, we don't have a ton of time on the field. We just don't, right? Lucky to have 2 good practices in the week. 3 would be awesome, right? 4 is a dream. Some people are able to do it. It is what it is. Important thing is whatever system you're using, you have to make it so that you can teach it, of course, and something that you can get done in the time that you have, right? This offense is created to be difficult for the defense and easy for us. And of course, when we first look at it, it always looks confusing. Oh gosh, he's going here and what's going over there and what's going on, right? But for us, it is forgiving. We have an athlete in space. We can even sometimes miss 3-4 blocks on the offensive line and still have a 60-yard touchdown because we hit it in the right place at the right time. Now, it forgives mistakes in that way. We have our athlete in space. Like any good offensive system, we want to get our athlete in space. Open field tackling is hard, okay? I feel bad sometimes for those DBs out there because it's a hard job. You got to be smart. You got to be somebody who uses great technique. And if you get a great athlete out in wide open space, that's a tough matchup. Okay, that's a tough matchup. And that's the reason that we use the sweep. Okay, it's deceptive. We're hiding the ball. We're using the momentum of the defense. Sometimes we're using it against them or expecting the momentum of the defense in a certain way, right? We always say, we'll beat you with the sweep or we'll beat you with the sweep. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that no matter what, I'm going to run it 50 times a game? No, for sure not. There's many games where maybe I run it 4 or 5 times. But there will always be a few. There will always be a few. But it won't be 50 because whether or not I give the ball to the sweep man or not, I'm still beating you with the sweep. If I run the sweep motion and I run ISO here and counter there and this, that, and play action, I'm still beating you with the sweep because I'm using it as a base to build the rest of my offense, a base from which to understand the defense. If I know that the defense will rotate a safety down every time we go in motion, that changes how you look at it. Just like if you're looking out there and you see cover 2, your quarterback's going to say, hey, this is the best option on this route that we're running. Or maybe he changes it, right? It's really the same basic principles. We're taking what we got, what we know, and trying to find the weakness, okay? Okay. It's a little bit about championship offenses. Every offensive system seeks to have these things. To eliminate turnovers, eliminate sacks, protect the quarterback, have the ability to be balanced. Now, some like a little more run, some like a little more pass, but at the end of the day, against the toughest opponents, you have to have some balance, especially against the toughest opponents, right? Because in that, you're able to do things such as controlling the line of scrimmage, showing some toughness, and not being predictable, right? And that's one of the hardest things for any coach, to find a way to not be predictable and still be successful, right? Ooh, stop the swarm, okay? We don't want 10 helmets on the ball, 11 helmets on the ball every play. Just don't want that. Not a good plan, right? Get the ball into space. Again, whether you're doing it with screens, whether you're doing it with deep pass, whatever you decide to do, get the ball into space and let your athletes work. That's it. Score points against any defensive scheme. And this is always a challenge for any offensive scheme. if a defense comes out and plays unconventional, something a little different than normal, it can cause some problems early on. Just like how our offense will cause problems early on in a game for a lot of teams simply because they have never seen it at that speed in that style before. Okay, fine. That gives us a slight advantage early on. But every defense that comes to us, we have to have an answer for, right? Whether they play a bear, they play the 4-2-5, whatever you want to use defensively, we have to have an answer offensively. Cause the defense to play vanilla, basic. Now, this doesn't always happen. Sometimes you play against a great defensive coordinator, and they say, you know what? I'm done messing with you. We're blitzing. Boom. Fine. That's okay. But we seek to limit that by showing them that if they blitz or if they are over-aggressive, we will use it against them. I think any team wants to, or any championship offense wants to have that as a goal, to make the defense a little unsure, right? Not 100% exact sure, where's the ball going? Every time they're in trips, they do this. Okay, well, let's break that idea and do something else. That's it, okay? Fly offensive philosophy, we've talked a little bit about it. Deception, even a dead man can fake. He can play dead. Probably does it really well, too. Again, it's a bit of a lost art, right? I see a lot of times, and you see it if you watch NFL or college football on TV. You'll see, and the quarterback does a little boop, a little fake, right? But then again, you see some of the greats that do it, guys like Peyton Manning, right? Where he is hiding the ball, giving a long play action fake, and then getting back into his pass drop for play action. And that creates more separation between the linebackers and the receivers. It can create a much better situation. So deception is a key ingredient for this offense. We fake all the time. That's how it is. It's difficult to key one player in this offense. And in that, it's a very generous or democratic offense. We won't say, okay, this running back, he's going to get the ball 25 times a game. That's just not really the key to this. For us, we're going to mix it up no matter what. Very rarely do we have a back with over 20 carries in a game, even if we do run a little bit more than some people, right? That's mainly because of the options that we have. With the sweep, we're basically adding another running back. And if we're playing in two-back, that means basically we have 1, 2, 3 running backs flying at you wherever it might go, okay? And that makes it difficult for the defense to say, well, he's always getting the ball, okay? Here in Germany also, we're playing with American players, and they got an A on their back, and they're clear to see, okay? And they're often great athletes, big-time playmakers sometimes, and those guys will get the ball. But if you don't keep the defense honest by switching it up, it's just making it too easy on them. For us, for our philosophy. That's our philosophy. That's just it, okay? Everyone can do it different. But we like to spread the ball around. Now, a lot of teams like to spread the ball around with the short pass. West Coast offense, short, boom, 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 him, there, who, okay? Tom Brady throws to 12 receivers every game, well, whatever, okay? That's another way to make it difficult for the defense to see where is the ball going to go. Is it always going to this guy? Not really, but he's definitely important for their offensive plan, but it's not always going to him. And we want to create that. It's difficult to simulate in practice. This is one of the biggest advantages, especially here, again, where we have limited practice time. The simulation of this in practice, we will do it and rep it over and over and over, and we'll get our timing down, and we'll get it just right, and we'll be able to be going full speed when we're receiving the ball. For a team to do that, and a scout team, with not a ton of time and not a ton of experience with it, and all the weeks before they were practicing spread or pro style or whatever on the scout team, that makes it very difficult to simulate in practice. That gives us the advantage, especially early in a game, because we're coming out firing full speed, go, go, go. And that is something that is different. Even if they draw it perfect and everyone follows it perfect on the lines, and just doesn't always happen in practice, right? It has a logical progression. And that also allows me to understand better what the defense will try to do against us. The idea is they're going to want to stop the sweep because we're going to have success with it, and they're going to see that, and they're going to say, hey, that's got to stop. Don't do that. Don't let them do that. Okay? Of course. And for us, that means, again, we're either beating you with the sweep or beating you with the sweep. Sometimes we don't beat them, but that's okay. You know, that's how it is. But that's the idea. We understand that, and that gives us a bit of an advantage. Again, simplicity within complexity. Easy ideas, easy terms, easy schemes for us. Things that we get a lot of reps at. Things that look very difficult from the outside looking in. Things that are complex to understand or just different. It's just different. And that's what gives it the complexity and makes it difficult for defenses. Fun. Any offensive system, hopefully, is fun. If we're doing it right, it's fun. For me, this offensive system is a lot of fun because it gives our team a bit of an identity because we're doing something a little different. Okay. You don't have to do everything different. You don't have to do it all conventional. But for me, we create situations that make it a lot of fun to play in the offense. Okay? And in that, that's our goal, right? That's a goal. Fun has to be a goal. Still a game, right? Okay. Talk a little bit about teaching the fly sweep. So we've talked a little bit about it. What is important? I'll get through all of these. When we teach the sweep, we start and break it down into pieces so that our players can understand. The approach, right? When the motion starts across the formation, we call that the approach. And we give it a name so that we can talk to our players about it. Hey, on your approach, you were only going maybe 50%. We got to pick it up a little bit, right? The approach is important. The player should build speed during the approach. He should build speed and be not 100% at the quarterback, probably about 85% when he's getting to the mesh point. The mesh point is where the quarterback's at, okay? Whether he's under center or in shotgun, the mesh point is where we're meeting with the ball, either faking or receiving the ball, okay? The slide step. Now, if we are under center with the quarterback, after the mesh point, we want our runner to slide step. That means to lose about 2 yards, maybe 3, of ground. Now, why? Well, one reason is because we want to get well aligned with the lead blocker, if there is one. 2, some defensive ends are really good and really fast, and some blitzing linebackers are really fast, and they're going to get through there. And if we don't lose a little bit of ground, even though we are going fast, they'll be able to get us. If we lose a little bit of ground, that allows us a little bit more space and a chance to beat them around the corner. right? Doesn't always work. I'll be honest. It doesn't always work. It just doesn't. But this is how we're going to teach it as far as a progression, okay? Ball handling and faking, right? So, again, this is something that we will emphasize in our offense, which is maybe not a part of a lot of other offenses, is faking the ball, being an active faker, being a great actor, right? And really pretending like you got that ball and going just like as if you had the ball, right? The catch. The catch is when we're catching our lead backer or our lead back, right? Usually a fullback, could be a tight end. The catch is an important moment when we slide step and we get into formation like two fighter jets, right? And then at that point, we're in perfect position to make a move off of his block, right? So the catch portion is when we get close to our lead blocker. Fine. And we set up the block, right? And talk a little bit more about that here. So, the approach. Again, the approach portion is clear here, right? Whether you're doing it with no running back, whatever. When we teach it, we always start without a lead blocker. We will run it without a lead blocker. That has to happen, right? Or else every time the fullback goes out there, they're running over there. Too easy, okay? The approach portion, the mesh portion here at the quarterback, the slide step, and then if there's a lead back, that will be the point where we're getting into the catch, right? The catch position, again, this is where the lead back's starting. The sweeper wants to get a little bit outside, so he's actually moving, right? He wants to get a little bit outside of that lead back in order to have a two-way go. We don't want to only be on one side and not have a chance to turn it up. Remember, the goal is east-west and north-south. Don't forget the north-south, right? Can't do it. Just running in, getting a hot dog, and sitting on the bench. We don't want that, okay? It's important that the sweeper sets up the block. You have a good sweeper, sometimes he can make the lead back look really good simply by doing a nice job of waiting and being patient, waiting for the pads to boom, and then making his cut. Or even setting up the block by leaning in a little bit, knowing that he wants to go out, leaning in, that gives the fullback a chance to get on his block, boom, now I'm outside, okay? And we practice that. It's a very important part of it, okay? Again, it makes life easy on the lead back as well. The catch portion and the set up the block portion. So, the catch position. We tell our players we want to be on the outside hip. If we're going left to right here in this picture, he's on the outside hip, just behind the fullback. Ideally, he can reach out and touch the outside hip of his fullback, right? He could probably do that here. He's pretty close, right? He's in that position. Now, we want to be on the outside hip because on the inside hip, we limit ourselves. We can't go outside very easily anymore. But on the outside hip, we still have a two-way go. That's why we always coach outside hip, outside hip, outside hip, right? That gives us a chance out there. Common mistake, inside hip. The inside hip, now, while it can also work sometimes, he's going too early on the inside hip because contact has not yet been made. This fullback, he's kind of hanging him out to dry because what's going to happen, 16 is going to see that, okay, he's going inside and he's going to dive inside. Okay, even if he gets blocked still, right? Again, inside hip is a common mistake because especially young players, they're not patient. They don't know how to be patient. They just, oh, look, space, right? And we have to be disciplined on this play. We have to be in the right catch position, and then we have to set up the block. Very important there. Wait until the pads collide, until you hear that boom, okay? That's the moment when you want to make your break. When the pads hit, that's when you want to make your break as a runner, okay? Now, it is difficult to have that patience. That's why you have to practice it. You have to coach it. You have to say, hey, outside hip, hey, pads collide, boom. I mean, again, we ran this at Willamette University for a long time, 15 years so, and we played the same teams in that 15 or so years. And they always thought they knew what was going on. And then the next year, we would do something different. And then the next year, right? But the basics of this don't change. The basics of being in good position, being outside hip, waiting for the pads to collide, whether you're running an ISO or a sweep, that still has to happen, right? Shotgun sweep. Now, when our quarterback is under center, he is responsible for timing the sweep. That means he will get into his cadence. He will see the sweeper approach. When the sweeper gets somewhere near the tackle, he's going to snap the ball, turn, and either give it to him or maybe give it to one of the other running backs or do a play action. Okay? We turn our back to the defense. A little dangerous, a little crazy, I don't know, right? When we're under center, the important thing for the quarterback is to get 2 yards of depth. We talk about a depth step and a quick turn. And when our back is to the defense, he can't see what I'm doing. Who's got the ball? Okay? We talk about being a blackjack dealer. You should be out there, right? The quarterback should be dealing. Not in a bad way, not about drugs. Okay? Say no. Just say no. Okay? Right? He should be just there. Because that is difficult for the defense to see. He's got his back to us. What's he doing? He's crazy. Okay? Some teams will try and jump over your center. I saw that. Okay? I've seen it at every level. It happened to us sometimes. Most times, it doesn't mess up too much because it's going so fast. But I've seen it. But I've never seen it be a big problem. Okay? So, but when we're in shotgun, the quarterback has to receive the ball. So he can't look at that guy, set go, or set HUD. Oh, there's the ball. Okay? It doesn't work. Right? So, whereas under center, the quarterback will time the mesh point. Right? He'll time the sweeper's motion so that the sweeper meets him just at the proper moment. Not too fast, not too slow, at the mesh point. In shotgun, the sweeper has to time it. He has to be responsible. So maybe he doesn't go quite as fast as he might when we're going from under center. If it's a bad snap, he has to slow down. If it's a really bad snap, well, it doesn't matter what offense you're running, that's trouble, right? It's just how it is, okay? So, again, now it's his responsibility to time the sweep, so the quarterback has to focus on receiving the deep snap, okay? And that changes just a little bit. We find that in the shotgun, we lose a little bit of the deception, of the trickery of this, but it also gives us other advantages. For example, quarterback run becomes a more potent weapon, okay? And it also is really great for bootlegs and play actions from here, from shotgun. So you lose a little, you gain a little in anything you do, right? So inside run is something that we have to fit with the sweep. That also requires a lot of timing, right? If we're in split backs and we're running ISO, and there's a guy coming this way and we're going that way, well, there has to be a good amount of trust and timing there, or else what's going to happen, the motion guy is going to run into the fullback and the tailback's going to fall over him and everybody's going to stand on top of him and say, hey, what's your problem? Okay? We don't want it. Okay? But we talk about our inside run in 3 ways. Full flow, if we're in 2 backs, that means both running backs are going the same way. For example, on an ISO. Split flow, running backs are going different directions. For example, when we fake the sweep and run a counter. Okay, the lead back's going with the sweep, the counter's going away. That's tough. Okay? That puts linebackers in some difficult decisions. Okay? And that gives us, hopefully, an advantage. Cross flow, something that we do, might be a little different. When we cross our backs, okay? When we cross the back, this back goes here, that back goes here, and the sweeper goes through the middle. That's also very difficult, especially when you can't see the ball. Now, that takes a lot of practice, but really, it's the same paths for the running backs, right? Every single time. When we run split flow or cross flow or full flow, they're using the same steps. It's just called a different play. But it's really the same paths. And in that, we're able to do a lot of things that look very different, but are really the same basic idea or the same 1 or 2 paths for our backs and offensive line. Why inside run? For me, that's football. You know, I like watching hard-nosed teams. I like watching Alabama run people over. That makes me happy. Okay? I don't know why. Just does. Okay? A sense of toughness. And for me, if you can't run the ball inside, you can't win a championship. That's my philosophy. Other people have different philosophies. That's okay. I won't get into an argument with you, but for me, if your team doesn't have that sense that they can put all 11 guys there, and we're still going to run ISO for 4 yards, if you don't have that mindset, if you don't develop it as a coach, for me, I think that you're missing a little something, right? Toughness is part of the game, yeah. No matter what you do, yes. You've got to be tough to play this game. That's why it's not for everyone. But for us, inside run is a key ingredient to that, to creating toughness. We're not all born tough. We don't come out of the womb like, hey, what's up, right? It's not how it works. We got to create it. We got to bring it out of our players, right? And for me, the inside run helps that, right? When you see a fullback fly through that gap and blow up a linebacker, or you see a linebacker knock a fullback back through the hole, that makes everybody excited. That's great. Those are my favorite parts of practice. You know, when that actually happens, yes, right? That's what we want. Situational. We have to be able to run north and south. Okay? We do a lot of this and that here and there, but we got to be able to run north and south. We have to also force the defense to respect the inside run, especially in short yardage. Of course, that will help our perimeter run plays, and it will help our play action. If you don't show that you can run the ISO, well, then when you do a play action from ISO, maybe they don't respect it quite the same. Okay? So you really have to start there. Ability to attack a defense between the tackles. Again, for me, that's a really important part of football. Doesn't have to happen all the time, but it has to be in your arsenal, in your plan somewhere. There has to be a little bit of that. Okay? Again, for me. Okay? And force the defense to respect everything. Again, we want to fake as if we have the ball. We want to have our sweeper, if he doesn't get the ball, he flies through there like he's got it. He pretends he's got it even sometimes, right? So, hey, I got it, right? That's really important. The better the fake, the better the outcome of the play in general, right? Sometimes we guess wrong, they guess right. That's going to happen. But it will give us an advantage, and also in play action, we will create a lot of separation by having great fakes. A little diagram of green light sweep. We talked about it before. Green means go. Green means go. How do we communicate how we're going to block this? Again, on this, generally we will run the sweep to at least one receiver. Could be two, could be three. Yeah, unbalanced formation. I don't know. But generally, at least one. Okay? We like to crack with the outside receiver, but we don't always, right? We will depend on how aggressive this guy is, where's the strong safety, a lot of different things from the defense, okay? But our base starting point is what we call 21 green sweep. He's got number 2, if we count from outside, corner, 1, outside linebacker, whoever is in this area, could be a rover, could be the strong safety, okay, is number 2. The next guy inside of that we're calling number 3. And the safety on the play side is the number 4. That gives us the ability to change our blocking scheme based on the movement of the defense from what they do. It gives us the ability to change it throughout the game very easily. Okay, we're going to run green sweep 21. Okay, this time we're going to run green sweep 41 because the safety's flying down. Fine. Again, we only number the players on the side that we're sweeping to, but this gives us a way to communicate with our blockers, right? And that's important. Sometimes the corner's up. Fine, we're just going to block him. Then the fullback can take the next guy. It's also okay. There's a lot of ways to do this. Again, depends on your team's personnel and, of course, on the defense itself. All right? Problem technique is usually the 5 technique on the tackle. Right? Where is he? There he is. Okay? We have to slow him down somehow. Okay? Again, it's a tough job for a lot of tackles to reach block. It's just a hard thing to do, especially when they expect you to run outside, right? That's definitely difficult. But if we slow him down, just fall down in front of him and roll around and hope. A lot of times it's enough because we're running around that corner. We're going. The more dangerous guys are these guys when they're blitzing. They're hitting it hard, right? But if we can slow down this guy, we have a chance. Yellow light. Again, it's a read. The problem technique, again, is the 5 technique. Got to stop his feet. Got to slow him down a little bit. Okay? If we get a 7 and a 9, okay, a couple guys out there, we might have to reach, which just means we're going to go ahead and reach with basically everybody. Most times we don't get that. Sometimes, especially in goal line formations, you will see that. Okay? We have to have a plan for it. We do. Again, we are going to read the block of the outside man. Okay? Whether he's a tight end or an open tight end or a receiver. Okay? He will block his man, and against this defense, he will be the read man, the number 2. We will do that as a game plan. Say, hey, this week we're reading number 2. That's our read guy. We're going to block him. Whichever way he goes, he's wrong. Sorry, Sam. You're wrong. Okay, whichever way he goes, he's wrong. As long as our receiver doesn't, fall down or trip or just get knocked down. Okay? Important is the fullback will read that block. So wherever he takes him, if the Sam goes inside and he takes him inside, we go outside. He goes outside, we block him outside. We tell our fullback, if you see the butt, you cut it up. Right? You see the butt, he's blocking him out, cut it up. We also say, when in doubt, take it out. If you're not sure, you come out here and you're going too fast and they're going too fast and you're not sure, is he inside, outside, I don't know. When in doubt, take it out. Just go. There's a lot more green grass out there. Got a chance. Eventually get north-south. Red light, cut it up. We have several different ways to do this. It will always depend on the defense. Okay? A lot of times, we'll have a tight end. Doesn't have to be, but it creates a little more space. So a lot of times it's a little better. I like it better with the tight end. Doesn't mean we can't have another receiver out there. We will do a lot of unbalanced formations. We'll put the X receiver on the line of scrimmage with the tight end on the same side, understanding that he is no longer eligible for a pass. That's okay with us. Okay? A lot of times the defense doesn't notice right away that he is no longer eligible for a pass. That's fun too. Okay? You see the corner falling. Hey, where are you going? Yeah, I'm blocking. Okay? Can't go out for a pass anymore. Okay? So, what are we going to do? We got a 3 technique. We got to slow him down. Got to slow him down. That's a tough job for him. If we have an end here and the Sam up on the line of scrimmage, we have a couple different options. We can cross block, block down, kick out. Okay. Okay. We can push them both out if we think that we can stop him. Also, we can go ultra red and push them all out, try and get inside there. It's a tough angle. Okay? It's a really tough angle. But, again, because we've faked well in the past and because we've run inside in the past, not just sweep, 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 we expect certain things from the defense, certain movements. Okay? We expect him to shoot here to try and stop the green light sweep. Fine. Okay? And in that, we can understand that that gives us a chance to let him overplay. Take yourself out of the play. Please, thank you, bye. Okay? Important. And in the red light, we're just saying we're going to cut it up. And these guys are going to make the call on the line of scrimmage, however you want to call it, in and tackle switch, cross, out, whatever you want to call it. The important thing is if they can communicate it and we plan for it, we can have a really great inside run with emotion. Something just a little different, okay? All right. You can also do it again in this way with an open guy. Oh, show some sweep film. I put that picture in there because, you know, sometimes things just don't go right. No matter what you do, sometimes life grabs you by the balls. All right. I'll end with that. I have some film. We're out of time. It's late. You've all been here a long time. If you have any questions, I'll be here this weekend, and go ahead and talk to me. Also, if you would like this presentation in email, let me know. Okay? Thank you very much.